Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, live on WBON-TV Channel 9 and on radio at WEKY, WKXO, and WIRV. Also brought to you by Bishop Small Engine Repair, the law office of Patrick O'Neill, Nuevo Vallarta, the Richmond Raceway, and Affordable Service Solutions. Now let's go live to your hosts, Michael Watkins, Samantha Burford, and Dawson Rule.
To the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show here on a Monday night, first live show of 2024. I'm Michael Watkins. She is Samantha Burford. He is Dawson Rule. As we look back on a very busy first week of January, Samantha, Dawson, before we get started, I do have a couple of questions for you. How many times have you said that word this week?
My New Year's resolution. Yeah. I've said it a bunch.
I know. See, and that's what. And Dawson, how many times have you bet parlays in the first week?
I did one.
No, wait, that wasn't. What was your resolution? Getting back in the gym.
Back in the gym.
Yeah.
And what was the conversation we had on the way over here?
I had a cold last week, and I wasn't in there at all. And then I went out of town for a couple of days.
He has been coughing a little, so I'll give him that. You can't go to the gym if you're coughing.
And then as soon as I get better, 100%, I'm back in there like swimwear.
So when I said,
even my kids have commented, "Mom, you said you weren't going to do that."
When you said when I said that your all's resolutions would only last a week or less than a week, check mark, check mark.
You didn't even tell us.
Mine hasn't started yet, though, to be fair.
True, and you didn't even give us a resolution.
So Hugh Davis gave me a good idea on my resolution.
Okay.
It was to play more basketball this year, and I'm already 2 days. 2 days I've played basketball. So
that's good.
I don't know if I played 2 days all of 2023. So I've played more hoops than I already have last year.
Well, just think, it's good for your exercise health. It's good for your mental health. It's good for everything. You're going to end up thinking that you're like Jalen Davis by the end of the year.
Put me on. I got some eligibility left. We had that in football. I mean, maybe A-Dub needs some. I saw they needed some walk-ons a few weeks ago. Can I go back and get a? I can't shoot like Buttrey, and I can't dunk like Cozart, and I can't do anything like any of those guys can do, but I could put a jersey on.
Then you might be in trouble.
Well,
as long as you're at the end of the bench, you could be a manager.
Yeah. That pay anything? Can I get an NIL
free gear?
Can I get an NIL? That would be. I would love to have a pair of EKU shoes. Well, at the show tonight, we do have an EKU basketball player coming over, the current ASUN Player of the Week, Isaiah Cozart, who has been, oh my gosh, I was at the game on Thursday against Lipscomb. Cozart was so impressive. It seemed like he was dunking it every time down the floor. There was one play late about midway through, maybe the second half. He did a spin move, dunked it. They got a steal, and then hit a three-pointer with Cooper, literally just putting the game away against Lipscomb on Thursday, who came in insanely hot into ASUN play. So really impressive victory there for the Colonels over Lipscomb on Thursday. That got them started 2-0 in conference play. We'll talk about that in segment number 2. We'll have the press conferences from both those games featuring A.W. Hamilton. That's courtesy of EKU Sports. And Cozart will join us at 6:30 tonight. But let's start.
ASUN Player of the Week.
And deservedly so.
Yes.
Deservedly so. But let's start with some high school hoops. Dawson, Friday night we were at Model versus Dunbar. The return of John Morgerson, former Model coach last year, been there for 3 or 4 years at Model, now at Dunbar in his first year, returning to face his former team. And his team could not miss from the three-point line. Beck was on the call with me on Friday night. And just a really impressive game. Model fed the ball inside to Riley Millett. He had a really good game, but nobody else could put the ball in the basket. Model fought hard. They were down by 20 almost the entire second, third, and fourth quarters. Cut it down to 10. That's what they lost by against Dunbar, but a really impressive showing by Millett. Big numbers from him, but not enough from him or the Model Patriots to get a win against their former coach.
Yeah, because he had 27 points. That's pretty fantastic, against a team like Dunbar.
Yeah, and he's got a lot against a team like Dunbar who likes to get up and down the floor.
Right.
You could tell Riley, who's a bigger kid, not used to running up and down the floor every time. He was a little winded. I don't think he came out of the game at all the entire game. But he shot the ball well, had a couple of three-pointers in that game, dominated the inside. Dunbar didn't have the size to match him, but they made him work. Right. They made him run. And Dunbar, man, if they can shoot the ball like that, they'll be a scary team when the 11th region tournament rolls around, because we know about the Great Crossings and the Douglas and Madison Southern and the Catholic and how good those teams are. Henry Clay undefeated right now. But whenever you can shoot the 3 ball, it is the ultimate equalizer, Dawson.
Well, first of all, the 11th region this year, by far. No other region's even
insane.
close. I mean, it's loaded top. Even the bottom, I mean, if you look at RPI, Model's down towards the bottom, a little bit higher than the lowest spot. I feel like they're one of the most underrated teams in the 11th region. And they've been competing in their games, and they actually played a bigger school. Typically, they don't play schools the size of Dunbar every game. Home game for them, here at Eastern. And it was a 10-point game. I mean, they are very underrated. Coach Chris Evans' first year, he's doing a great job over there. And I don't know, maybe Model could make a little run in the district. And if they win that first game, depending on who they play, I mean, maybe they could, if they get hot, like Dunbar did, of course. Model's just a good, solid team. They're not there yet. It'll take them a little bit, but they're close.
Well, here's the thing about Model, too. With a guy like Millette, if you can slow the game down and consistently feed him, Southern really doesn't have a guy inside that can contend with him. Berea really doesn't have a guy that can contend with him. Model's already beat Berea once.
Then you got Thomas.
And Central with Thomas and Asher, those two guys can beat and bang with him, but Asher seems to be a little bit more maybe polished, whereas those two guys still, I think, coming along. We'll talk about them in just a second, but a very impressive showing for Model in a tough loss against a pretty good Dunbar team that came in and shot lights out.
Now, here's my thought. You're right. I think they're going to have to slow the game down because their size, as far as numbers, they don't have it. So that going up and down quick court, they're not going to be able to sustain that if they're in some tournament that's got multiple games.
Yeah, Dunbar played 10, 11 guys, so they were staying fresh, and they were consistently getting the ball out. They were running free throw fast breaks up and down the floor. Looks really impressive in that win.
Now they've got
on
that
Friday
All
night.
A.
Aren't they playing Berea later
They play
this week?
Berea in the All A Classic. Both, so the girls and the boys both play each other, Model versus Berea, but both those games are at Frankfurt, so unable for us to do those. But we will have Model Berea boys next week. That'll be on WBON-TV. I think it's on the 16th or the 19th. The 19th, Model versus Berea on the 19th. And you were at the Madison Central game Friday night. The Indians taking on undefeated Henry Clay. Had a big lead at the end of the first quarter, but couldn't sustain it as they were losing to the Blue Devils late. Kept it close for the most part, but could not knock off Henry Clay, who remains undefeated.
Yeah, and which was crazy because it came out. I was texting you the score, and you were like, "What? Like, what is happening?" Because it was 12-3 at the end of the first quarter, and I mean, Henry Clay stayed at 3 points forever because I kept filming, and I was like, the score is the same. The score is the same. This is crazy that they were undefeated. But, wow, things changed after halftime.
Yeah.
But now here's the thing. I mean, Madison Central, people were looking at me going, look how many guys they just keep playing, which everybody who's used to Madison Central, they know Coach plays his 5, 6 possibly, and it doesn't change a lot. But he really played a lot. And even in the second game, I think on Saturday, he played 11 guys, 12 guys, and 13 scored, something like that. So they had 2 games, one Friday night and one on Saturday.
One big on that Saturday one, too.
Over Western Hills, 75-43. And here's the thing. I mean, we knew that Central would get better as the season went along.
Yes.
When you have a guy, when you have a resume like Coach Feldhouse has, you know that his teams are going to consistently get better as the season goes along. So when you throw in some of these younger guys getting more experience, getting more comfortable, playing JV and then playing varsity as well, the more they play, the more, I guess, the better they are going to get. And we've seen that already with Central here early on in the season.
If you look at their schedule now, Gauntlet's about to come up. I mean, Great Crossing. I think Lex Cath, you throw them in there. Evangel Christian, Douglas. There's a couple more I'm missing, but they're really about to get into a tough portion of their schedule. Hopefully some of these games and how they've gotten better and they can continue to get better, they'll be ready for, and maybe they can win 1 or 2.
Over the next few weeks, you got Great Crossing at home.
North Laurel next, right?
North Laurel on the road. That's tomorrow night.
They're down this year with Reed gone.
Great Crossing.
They're 5-10.
Douglas at home as well next week. You got Trinity at the end of the month on the road. You talked about Evangel Christian. That's the first week of February. Then follow that up with Lexington Catholic. Franklin County is not ever an easy game, even though this year I think they're kind of middle of the pack in the 11th region. And then you play Covington Catholic and South Laurel, who are also relatively good programs all the time. So it's and listen, we're not surprised by this schedule. This is what Coach Feldhouse does every year.
Every year.
And they seem to be coming together as a team.
They definitely are.
I will be really interested to see how these guys play once the postseason rolls around, because whenever you're a young player, inexperienced player, you can get that experience in the regular season. But whenever it's postseason time, especially in that first round of the district tournament, when it's win or go home, and they draw this year, they're going to be doing the draw. If they draw Southern, that game is going to have a ton of pressure on it. But I will say this, kind of like I think if you're like in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers right now playing the Dallas Cowboys, all the pressure is on the Dallas Cowboys in that game. I think if Southern and Central were to draw each other in basketball in the district tournament, I think all the pressure in that game would be on Southern because Central's got all these young guys, and Southern has to be like, this is our year.
Yep.
That's a long way from now, obviously. Still got 2 months of the regular season left. But I just think this Central team is going to get a lot better between now and then.
Well, go ahead, Samantha.
No, I'm just going to add in that they were 6 of 27 at the three-point arc the first game, Friday night, and then 11 of 40. They took 40 three-point shots on Saturday.
You got guys like Richardson, and you got
Goatley.
And
they had 2 people on Eli Steele every time he went to the corner.
Morrison's playing. Morrison's a good shooter.
Really good
I think he's a top scorer right now, averaging 16 a game for him.
Yeah.
And Ty Thomas has played really well. He looked really good in that Southern game.
Yeah, he's a big guy, and he's not the biggest center, but he bangs down low. I think he can step out and shoot a little bit, mid-range too.
He had to come out for a little bit because I was sitting here going, they're still playing. You could see he would wipe his mouth. He had blood coming off his mouth.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, they are not stopping this game. He's played probably another 2 minutes in the game, and then he had blood all over him. So they had to get him out of the game. But I was like, they're still letting him play. But I will add this. There was someone in the Henry Clay crowd, far left corner over there, that every time we shot a free throw, she would scream. Scream.
Are you mad about it?
I am mad
Okay.
because,
ma'am, if we can reach out to Samantha, she would like to talk to you. She
they
did
were
not
13
like
to 23 at the free throw line, and I'm
Henry
telling
Clay
you,
was or Central?
No, Central.
Okay.
So every time they would shoot a free throw, especially the first half, I think they got better in the second half, but that first half, she screamed the whole game every time we shot
it like
a free
a loud
throw.
scream? Like
Yes, and and she's the only noise in the gym.
Okay. Well, that's what a fan is supposed to do.
I think it affected them.
Well, that's
I
good.
really
that's what
do.
you're supposed to do. We need somebody like that whenever they play again.
It
Central can
affected
do it too. Let's talk about
really
Madison
does.
Southern real quick. They have not lost since the Cooper game. Wins so far in 2024 over Fern Creek and Lincoln County. They'll play Ashland Blazer next. That's coming up on Friday night. The only issue for the Eagles, Dawson, they don't have any home games. They got 2 home games, make it 3 home games left. They play Ashland Blazer, then at home versus Great Crossing on the 23rd. We'll be there for that one. And then a matchup versus Bryan Station at home to end the year. Only 3 home games left for this Eagles basketball team. And they only had, 7 home games all year long? They had Central at home, Jeffersontown, Collins, had Fern Creek, and then they played – they didn't play against the Guardians last week. That game got canceled. So
we talked about this early in the season. How they don't have hardly any home games.
They've actually added some since the start of the year. They gave them 7. I think they had 5 to start the year. But that Bryan Station one, I think, was added. But that big one, that Great Crossing game, if they can continue to play the way they're playing right now and not lose until that game, there could be a lot of eyes around the state when Southern hosts Great Crossing here on the 23rd.
I just want to know who on Southern's guarding Moreno, because that'll be a crazy good matchup. And I mean, what guard are they going to put on Vince Dawson for Great Crossing? I mean, he's awesome.
Yeah,
so,
the Hudson twins, I think, can match up with Dawson, and at least they can take turns trying to guard him. I think for Southern, that game's just going to have to be you got to make Moreno run up and down the floor. Not that he can't do it, but that's probably going to be their recipe to victory in that game.
Listen, even this Ashland Blazer team, they're 9-4.
Yeah.
They got a player that's lights out. He shot 23 points this last game against Danville Christian, 25 points against Corbin, 25 points against Jeffersontown. And I could have kept just going up, but he is definitely their best player. So
how about Xander Carter?
Yep.
You have 24 points per game. That'll be a big one for Southern on Friday as well.
One quick note. Southern, best team by far in the county. They're still looking for their first signature big win.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of decent wins. And this Ashland Blazer team, they beat them Friday night. That's going to put a lot of eyes because Southern in the rankings, different rankings, has kind of been floating around the 23, 24,
I saw him at
25.
15th in Lavelle Martin.
He knows because he's a local guy.
Yeah.
But once they get that first big quality win, think they could skyrocket.
They'll shoot up a little bit. Yeah,
It
you're
definitely
right.
will go up the rankings.
Some big games coming up for all of our local teams as we step aside for our first commercial break. Folks, when we come back, we'll talk some Colonels basketball. We touched on it there when we came on the air, 2-0 in the ASUN Conference for the men. Women playing well as well, even though they lost on Thursday to Lipscomb. We'll talk about those games when we come back. And then at 6:30, Isaiah Cozart, former Madison Central Indian and the current ASUN Player of the Week, will join us to talk about the hot start for EKU later on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
Are you looking for a brand new SUV that won't break the bank? Look no farther than Jack Burford Chevrolet, home of the newly redesigned 2024 Trax. Bigger, bolder, more refined, and starting under $25,000, the new Chevy Trax is really upped its game. Come see us at Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond or check us out at jackburford.com to see everything this new Trax has to offer.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Jennifer, and in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Collegiate, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
The Beast of the East roars back to life for their 2022 racing season. Most Saturday nights, some Friday nights, and maybe even a Sunday. You can take the whole family down to the Richmond Raceway for some good family fun. Watch the drivers race around the 1,584 feet clay track for some big winnings. Children 10 and under are always admitted free. Richmond Raceway, Greens Crossing off Highway 52 East, and richmondraceway.net. And unleash your inner beast at the Richmond Raceway.
With you. So glad to have you along on a Monday night in Richmond, talking local sports, local basketball taking forefront right now. And Dawson, some big wins for EKU men's hoops to start ASUN play. 4-9 going into ASUN play, but now confidence, and the team seems to really be clicking here after two big home games against Lipscomb and Austin Peay.
Well, this is the best time to do it, best time to click. I mean, this is where you get to the NCAA tournament. Win your conference, get a good seed, and host all the ASUN tournament games at home. Gives you the best shot to go to the tournament. This team's very much talented and has a good shot at doing it. They just had a tough non-conference schedule. Now they're playing ASUN teams that they've seen before, probably players they've seen before, and start out 2-0 at home, and hopefully they can go 2-0 on the road this week.
And even big rivalries.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
it's been important. That first game against Lipscomb was like the community night.
Yeah.
So there was a huge crowd there. What a great way to get the fans there, more ticket sales, big win.
At one point late in the first half, I saw Mike Brewer walking down the steps. I thought he was going to get it in the game. I thought he was going to put Cozart on the bench, give him a breather, and Mike was going to go in there and dunk it like Isaiah was.
Yeah, I think they introduced all the city commissioners.
Yeah,
and
they
the
introduced
mayor.
all the ones from Richmond and the folks from Berea as well.
Which is great.
But I texted Mike, and I said, I thought you was going to check in there for a minute. And he said, yeah, I was walking funny. And he said something. He said, why were you watching so close? I said, well, I was trying to see which one of your hips were messed up. He said, both. So I was like, oh, well, that explains why he was walking so bad for. But, yeah, big game for EKU.
Crowd.
And the crowd, especially in that Lipscomb game. Again, I wasn't able to go back on Saturday, but the Lipscomb game, And, of course, I was about 2 rows behind Donna. And when you're 2 rows behind Donna, you're going to hear a little bit of a bigger crowd.
You got to cheer just as loud as she does.
Beckett actually borrowed one of her
megaphones?
Her megaphones. And he said, Daddy, where'd she get that at? So I asked her, and she said, I got one he can borrow. So see, he used it, and he was having fun hollering for the Colonels. But I tell you what, as impressive as those 2 wins were, we know Isaiah had some big performances as well. Leland Walker putting up some big games. The 3-pointers falling for him. I think he had a career-high 3-pointers against the Lipscomb team, and then he played well, had 21 points against Austin Peay on Saturday. And I saw over the weekend Michael Moreno shared a dunk that he had, and he said, I can still get up too. So Moreno played well. And I've always, watching EKU, I've always begged for Michael to be more aggressive. No, it's just a fan watching a team. But coming out, he kind of set the tone early against Lipscomb, had a few 3-pointers early on in that game, and he was fired up, kind of like he was when they played Western at home, Dawson. If you remember, he had a couple of big shots early on in that Western game last year that kind of got the crowd fired up. I think him setting the tone was a big reason why they were kind of be able to lift up and get some momentum early against Lipscomb. And even though they kind of took their foot off the gas a couple of times, were able to finish off Lipscomb, never trailed against Austin Peay, looks good against them, and now 2-0 in ASUN play.
I mean, there was a game, I don't remember which one of the 2. I think he didn't score as much, but he had 12 boards. So, okay, 5th-year guy, go in there and get your team 12 boards. That's huge, even if you're not hitting the ball. Like Leland Walker's playing good. Of course, Cozart's playing good. Comer, all the guys. I mean, I think they're finally starting to integrate. It took a little bit at the beginning of the season to figure out team identity, and maybe they're still trying to figure it out. But they're playing better right now, and they look like they can go on a good run here in the ASUN, which gets all of us really excited.
Yeah, two more games this week, Samantha, on the road against Central Arkansas and North Alabama. Then you come back home and play Bellarmine, another in-state team with a chance to really kind of, I think, put your stamp on being that preseason All-Ace or that preseason ASUN favorite that they were crowned.
One quick thought I want to add in is this whole season, they have not been that go-to 3-point shooting team. And for them to have 11 threes against that game against Lipscomb, that was impressive. And that's what, as even fans, that's what we want to see. They were fired up. And even Moreno, he had those back-to-back threes. So it was a fun game to watch.
Buttrey was sitting on.
They were all hitting them.
And everybody, I think, kind of did their part. We know what the roles are of these guys and played very, very well.
I even love those.
Yeah, well, that's part of the most exciting 40 minutes, steals and all that.
Yeah, and not a lot of turnovers. Against Austin Peay, they didn't have a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key for them because when you got those young guards, Moreno or Comer and Walker, while they pretty much played all of last year, and Buttrey as well, they're playing now. They're still young guys. They're still going to make mistakes, but they are still learning. And I think with Walker, if he can carry this confidence throughout ASUN play, that could really just be another benefiting factor for this team as they go forward. Because we know what Tay can do, and what with him being kind of that go-to scorer, a guy that can back somebody down, get in the paint and cause havoc. We know about Moreno and Isaiah. We know about what the bench can do when you guys like Cooper and Buttrey who can bring and Okamada who can really bring a different type of energy level to the game. So I think if those starters can continue to just show confidence and then get breathers and let those guys come in and provide that energy, it could really be an exciting run here in this ASUN conference.
I don't say I was off, but man, with the tough non-conference losses, I was like, man, are we going to make a run? And now that we're only 2 games in, I'm back in. I feel like we're going to win every ASUN game and go to the tournament. That's just me, the fan part of me, of course, and loving Eastern. But man, here we go. It's time. ASUN conference play is here for all the conferences, and Eastern started out great at 2-0.
Now, is it too early to say since they're 2-0 in the ASUN league, or can I say that they're number 1 in the league right now?
They are.
Yes.
They are number 1.
Yeah, well, preseason number 1, too. And Lipscomb had just came off a win over a Power 5 team, Florida State, on the road at Florida State. They only lost to Arkansas, I think, by maybe 5 points. So they've been hanging tough with some really good teams. And for Eastern to kind of dominate that game, really, really impressive. Now, the women, they fell short last week, dropped the conference opener at Lipscomb, and then also lost to Austin Peay. They're 0-2 in conference play. Not really what we expected from the Lady Colonels, Dawson, to start ASUN play.
Tough start, and I don't know how good the girls Charles A-Sun is this year.
Both games on the road as well.
Both on the road. So let's see him back at home because I don't know the exact record, but Coach Todd at home has an awesome record in his 3 years at Eastern. I mean, he's not lost a lot of games, even in the conference. So, and this team is good. They brought in a lot of transfers, got a lot of talent. I mean, I could sit here and name all of them, but they had a great non-conference schedule. Let's give them a couple more games, and I think they'll be back on track.
Yeah, season low, 25% shooting in that loss to Austin Peay. Their next game is also on the road. They'll play Bellarmine in their next game on the road. That's on Saturday, so they get a whole week off before playing again on the road. And that one at Louisville inside Freedom Hall. So a much closer game than what they did to start the season at Lipscomb and at Austin Peay.
That's intimidating, too, in there. That Freedom Hall, that's a little intimidating. You know, there's some history made in there. So that's, you know.
It's a good gym.
I
like it.
Well, I think once EKU can get a couple of home games on the women's side, that'll give them a lot more confidence to kind of build upon as they go throughout the year.
Well, this has got to be their year. I mean, Walker, right?
Yeah, Walker, and you got the transfers that are coming in. They all look good, too. I mean, you lose by 10 to Austin Peay. Again, that's just kind of a rough – and teams will have those. You'll have a rough shooting night. Sometimes those are hard to overcome. A 25% shooting night is very hard to overcome. So we'll see if they can correct that now.
But they also have a lot of young, inexperienced players. So it's –
yeah, EKU now 11-5. They were 11-3 going into ASUN play. Now 0-2 in the conference. Still plenty of time to right the ship for the Colonels. We do have the interviews. A.W. Hamilton excited about his team's 2-0 start. Let's hear from Coach first after the game against Lipscomb, and then again after the win against Austin Peay. Here are the press conferences with A.W. Hamilton following both those wins. We'll then step aside for a quick commercial break and come back and talk to the ASUN Player of the Year, Isaiah Cozart. But first, A.W. Hamilton after his team's wins on Thursday and on Saturday.
Guys, I thought the starters did a phenomenal job just setting the tone and setting the tone on the defensive end. And then you look at us in the first half, we have 8 assists, no turnovers. We made simple plays. We didn't force the issue. We played inside out. We played high efficient basketball. So I was really proud of our guys. I loved what our bench did when they came in. They gave us a great lift. So this was a great team effort. Lipscomb's got a great basketball team. I think Lenny, he's one of the best coaches in our league, but I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. Now, we got to look ahead to Austin Peay. They got a great team. Corey's done a phenomenal job. They got a completely different team than they had last year, so it's going to be an absolute war in here on Saturday. So, you know, we can enjoy this for another 30 minutes, and Austin Peay's coming in on Saturday, and they got a great team.
You guys hit over 50% from the field. Is this one of those times where it could be they just needed to see it go through and start a hot streak?
I thought we just kept the game really simple. We played inside out. They started double teaming Tay. He hit the open man. We reversed the ball. We just took really good shots, and we got good shooters. We just need to take really good shots. And then in the second half, I thought playing through Cozart, we did a phenomenal job, and I thought Leland was electric, especially in the first half. And I thought Tayshawn played one of his best games of the year. He has 10 points, 4 assists, and he did a really good job. So this was a great team effort. This was a great defensive effort. Austin Peay's got a really good basketball team. They've been playing extremely well. We hold them to 38% and 27% from the three-point line. DeMarcus Sharp, he is a tough to guard. He's tough to guard, but we did a really good job on a lot of the other guys, and really proud of our guys. I thought Isaiah Cozart, I say the same thing after every game. He's playing lights out. He's just played phenomenal. And then I thought the way Michael, rebounded on the defensive end was, we out-rebounded him 43-29. And then I thought Leland showed a lot of growth and maturity, made some big plays down the stretch. So really proud of our group.
Asco's, like 2 of the last 3 games, he's had to go up against a 7-footer. Talk about how he's held his own and really done well.
Cozart is, from where he was, from the CBI, the confidence that he got from that, and then his off season was incredible, and the way he's playing this season, he's just a tough matchup for everybody. You put a smaller guy on him, he's so hard to handle because he offensive rebounds so well. I think he's number 1 or number 2 in the country in offensive rebounding. So, and he's KB. I'm so proud of that kid. I'm so proud of him. I'm so excited for him and proud of him. He's having a historic season. This was a great weekend for us.
How would you describe the change in the team over the last 3 or 4 weeks, through the Christmas break and stuff?
I love how focused they've been. They've been really locked into our scouting reports. There's been a sense of urgency about the group right now. They know what's at stake. They've been through this. They know how important every single conference basketball game is. So that won't change next week when we go on the road.
Are you looking for a brand new SUV that won't break the bank? Look no farther than Jack Burford Chevrolet, home of the newly redesigned 2024 Trax. Bigger, bolder, more refined, and starting under $25,000, the new Chevy Trax is really upped its game. Come see us at Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond or check us out at jackburford.com to see everything this new Trax has to offer.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills. When you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Jennifer, and in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from Collegiate, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
The Beast of the East roars back to life for their 2022 racing season. Most Saturday nights, some Friday nights, and maybe even a Sunday. You can take the whole family down to the Richmond Raceway for some good family fun. Watch the drivers race around the 1,584 feet clay track for some big winnings. Children 10 and under are always admitted free. Richmond Raceway, Greens Crossing off Highway 52 East, and richmondraceway.net. And unleash your inner beast at the Richmond Raceway.
We're back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show. Michael Watkins, Samantha Burford, Dawson Rule, and we are, January 8th, and they've already ruined their resolutions. So
No, it's going good. Trust
You're
me.
good? Okay.
Once I get there, it'll be fine.
Yeah, Samantha's lasted 2.5 days, right? Is that what? Maybe half a day. Half a day. Well, we've got a young man here.
I'm going to say that. How about I just say I'm going to say it less? I'm not going to say it
at all. Okay.
Less.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's
that'll
more.
work. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, you can go back and watch last week's show where we counted down the top 10 sports moments of the year, the highlighted moments from 2023, and
we gave our resolutions.
Yeah, y'all gave your resolutions. I didn't give mine till today. Thanks to Hugh Davis for helping me out with that. But we got a guy here, Isaiah Cozart, the Atlantic Sun Conference Player of the Week. Came from Atlanta headquarters earlier today. I texted Kevin earlier this morning and was asking about getting you and Coach Hamilton on. That was before this announcement came out. No surprise after the way you played against Lipscomb and against Austin Peay. But first of all, before we talk about these last two games, let's talk about the non-conference part of the schedule. What was it like playing against the defending right now Player of the Year in Zach Edey? You played pretty well against a guy that 7'3",
7'4".
7'4". Okay, sorry, 7'4".
Yeah,
hey, that inch makes a difference.
Oh
he's
yeah,
every bit 7'4" in person.
Yeah, well, you got a couple of blocks against him, right? I mean,
I think I got one.
One block. Yeah, look, I saw the picture of it too. But just talk about what was it like playing against a guy like that? I mean, got to hold your ground, but I mean that guy, it's got to be tougher than defending some of these guys in the A-Sun where you'll have 7'4" that you're seeing every night.
No, it definitely was an experience for sure. That's kind of how I would sum it up. I mean, honestly, being in that gym was an experience. They have probably the best home atmosphere, I think, in the country. You know, they get sellout nights every night.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to see them play. So, you know, being in there and having that kind of that crowd and environment and stuff and that atmosphere was really good. It just, you know, I feel like it helped us play just more harder, I think. And plus, the game plan starting out when we were playing Purdue was, you know, just to try and either Detroit, which is basically where we double team in the post once they take a dribble, or just have me front, which that I'll try my best on that. But, you know, it's definitely a big body to get around for sure.
Well, obviously, conference play or non-conference play did not go the way you guys wanted. Was there ever a time where you guys came together and be like, okay, we've got to figure this stuff out because we got a long season ahead of us, obviously, and you wanted to kind of get that ship righted before you came into conference play, now 2-0 in conference play. But during the non-conference part of the schedule, was there ever a time where you guys came together and tried to figure out what the issue was?
A bunch of times. I mean, you know, there was times where we would, you know, have player-only meetings in the locker room and just discuss what's going on and, you know, just how to improve our play and how to improve, you know, as a team and how to, you know, win some games. You know, we had, you know, coaches coming to us. I think actually right before conference, coach, he invited us to his house and we ate and, you know, had fun over there. And then he kind of gathered us all around and gave one of his famous speeches. Okay. And it was pretty good. You know, he was just talking about how that, you know, the non-conference, you know, now that it's done, where there's a new season and that nothing that happened before, it doesn't matter anymore. That it's just time to play like there's no tomorrow. And that's what, you know, we've been taking to heart and going, you know, as hard as we can in practice every day and giving it our all on the court. And I think that's helped us, especially on the confidence end.
I could see A.W. being really good behind the smoker. Did he cook or did Chelsea cook?
No, I didn't see him cook.
Okay.
He might beg to differ, but I didn't see him. I didn't see him.
He might have slaved for 2 days
There you
beforehand.
go. Yeah. We'll give Coach the benefit of the doubt.
Give him that benefit. I can see him, though, totally. When Coach Hamilton comes in here, we all feel like we could play basketball with you guys. He is such a motivator. So talk to us about being a senior on this team. What led you to motivate yourself, this team, preseason, all the expectations you guys had? Did you read into all that, or were you just like, I'm not going to look at all that, we're just going to play basketball?
You know, that's my opinion. That's kind of part of the reason why I think we were lacking, you know, in non-conference. At least subconsciously, we thought we could, you know, go in and just thrash every team. Not, you know, that we thought that, but I'm just saying, like, on a subconscious level, we might have just laxed off a little bit. But I think that's what's good about basketball is that there's, you know, in the season there's always another game and there's always ways you can improve and always ways you can try to get a win off. And so, you know, I think what helped us immensely, was, you know, those losses in conference and those, you know, having those experiences and learning and you know, growing in confidence and figuring out how to, you know, stop those losses from happening. I think, you know, it helped us, you know, tremendously.
What's the vibe around the team right now after winning 2 straight and going into the road this week, 2 more big A-Sun games? Y'all feeling good yet, or is it still just one game at a time?
No, I think we are feeling good, but it is definitely one game at a time. You know, the coach always has the saying that the biggest game of the year is always the next one. And, you know, the biggest game of the year is going to be the next game. Of course, it's a road game, so, you know, we got to win those. It's going to be, you know, an even harder, you know, environment because we're not going to have, you know, our fans and everybody around us. But, you know, that's the joy of it, that we get to go play on the road and have a chance to win over there.
Yeah, you talked about the A-Sun Player of the Week. I said year before we took commercial break. It is weak. That might come at some point.
I was going to say, we're just going to predict it.
Yeah. But 18.5 points, 11.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks while shooting 65% from the field and no turnovers for you. And I know that, you know, you don't get to me, the play of the week that I think might have secured this for you was the spin move baseline and the one-handed slam. You said you don't practice that a ton, but, man, you looked pretty – and I feel like every time you got it, you were dunking on somebody in that Lipscomb game. Just talk about the way that you feel like your game has developed, because you could see it last year there were flashes, and then in the CBI run, it was all on display. And so far in 2 conference games, you've really kind of put it all out there. We've seen it before with you when you played at Central. EKU fans have seen flashes of it, and then last year in the CBI, but it seems like now you really feel confident in what you're doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, Coach is, always – he's always expecting me to try and take a bigger role on the team. I just, I wasn't used to, especially coming off of sitting for 3 years, I wasn't used to, just playing and being out there. So I think, after last year especially, I've just, tried to work on, getting comfortable in that, bigger role and getting comfortable, with my game and sort of being able to learn, how to just play my game no matter what, no matter how the game is going. I think, especially these past 2 conference games, I've been able to do that, especially got my, great guards that that definitely give me some great passes.
Yeah, Comer is hitting you. I mean, he's driving and just kind of like dropping it off to you a few times.
I love those passes. It's a dunker because I can dunk and scream and all that and stuff. And dap them up on the play. But yeah, it's definitely. I think I've definitely improved on being more comfortable out there and just being more confident overall in my game.
I know you and Moreno have had y'all known each other for forever. Played against each other in high school. You're playing on the same team now. Talk about what it's like when you got a guy like that who can impact the game without scoring. Because, again, to me, watching him, I'm like, can you please be more aggressive? Because I want him to shoot. I want him to be more aggressive. But what's it like playing with a guy like that who is okay with taking a back seat to somebody else, but knowing he could probably go out there and average 15, 20 points a game?
Yeah, Mike is, one of the smartest players I've ever met, in just terms of basketball IQ and not letting, anything that the other team does kind of affect them. And in the way that, he can, if he's not having a good shooting night, he can affect the game in so many other ways, whether it's, setting, good ball screens or getting tons of rebounds, like he had 12 against Austin P, or, even getting some, even getting a dunk and getting the crowd going. I mean, and getting some blocks. I mean, he just knows how to affect the game in so many other ways. So, it's definitely it's great to have a guy like that on the team, especially if, we need, a shooter and he steps up and just knocks down 4 or 5 threes and, we're up by 15, 20. So, I mean, it's great to have a guy that's so multifaceted like that.
Question, you've been the shot blocker your whole basketball from high school to EKU, and you're one of the best in the country now for college basketball. How do you do it? Like,
I always get that question. I mean, I always feel bad saying that, like, I never really. It's not like I never really worked on shot blocking, but it's always kind of been just my thing that I do. In middle school, that's all I could do. I couldn't even score. I would block shots before I could shoot a layup. So, but it's really just all about timing. I think, especially because I'm 6'8". I mean, I have a humongous wingspan, but being 6'8", you kind of have to time it up a little bit more. And sometimes people come in and not being 7 foot or anything, they don't think that you're going to block it. So that kind of I kind of work with that sort of underestimation a little bit here and there.
Well, I know in the game against Lipscomb, I think there was a couple of times where I don't know if you get credit for these or not, but they were like trying to pass and you deflected the pass too. There was a couple of those in the Lipscomb game that I remember. But when you got these 2 big road games coming up, how important is it to continue rolling and building confidence here in these next 2 games as you all make your way through the ASUN? Because you've got all the expectations where we talked about preseason defensive player of the year. You got Tay preseason player of the year, the team preseason ASUN, number 1 team in the ASUN. So how do you kind of manage these expectations as you continue now going out on the road, knowing that because of those accolades that you all got, everybody's going to be taking their best shot against you?
Yeah, I think we know how to handle them now, especially, because, everybody kind of wrote after, the non-conference and everything, everybody kind of wrote us off, and saying that, we weren't, living up to the expectations and stuff like that. And kind of like, we're not really operating well as a team, and that we can't guard the three. And, I think now that we had these 2 wins in conference, we'll be able to keep our heads more. And because we, have experienced, that pain of, going on a losing streak and losing games that, we know we should have won. And I think now that we're hungrier, and now that we know, we can win in the conference, where we have all the more confidence to go out and start winning.
I got a quick fun question.
Phone question?
Fun.
Oh, fun question.
Fun,
okay.
fun,
I thought you said phone. Did you think you said phone too?
Fun question.
You got an iPhone 12? What you got?
Yeah, really. Let's talk phones. No, my fun question is, Coach Feldhouse, he's always one in a million, one of the greatest. Do you feel like that you still try to keep up with Madison Central basketball? Do you ever talk to Coach Feldhouse, and does he come to any of your games that you're aware of, or do you ever get to Central games?
I do. I try and keep up the best I can. I think that they have a game against Great Crossing. Friday. So me and Mike are probably going to be there.
Yeah, y'all will be there.
I'm definitely going to be there and watch them compete. But, yeah, I try to keep up the best I can. And Coach Feldhouse, he knows how much how much I love him, how much, he's done for me and stuff. So I'm always trying to keep in touch with him, whenever I can. For sure. He was one of when I got into that, that accident, he was one of the first to contact me and my family and make sure I was all right.
We're glad
everybody's good, though. You're good. Everybody's good.
I think EKU's happy that you're okay, too. Big numbers in that first week in conference play. On the road at Conway, Arkansas, at Central Arkansas on Thursday, and then back at North Alabama on Saturday. Back at home on the 20th, they'll play Bellarmine. That is a Saturday. It's January 20th, and then they'll be back at home against Jacksonville. 3-game home stretch, Jacksonville and North Florida, between the 20th and the 27th. That's Isaiah Cozart, current A-Sun Player of the Week. Thanks for coming over, my man. I know you're always busy. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to cheering on you and the Colonels as you all hit the road.
Thank you.
This
Appreciate
week.
you having me on.
Step aside for a quick commercial break. We'll talk about girls basketball when we come back, and Central Southern kind of getting back into the groove of being back at home, getting some of these home games in over the next week or so. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.
Are you looking for a brand new SUV that won't break the bank? Look no farther than Jack Burford Chevrolet, home of the newly redesigned 2024 Trax. Bigger, bolder, more refined, and starting under $25,000, the new Chevy Trax is really upped its game. Come see us at Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond, or check us out at jackburford.com to see everything this new Trax has to offer.
Patrick O'Neill has been serving Central and Eastern Kentucky since 1995. When someone is accused of something they didn't do, or when a good person makes a mistake, they need the best representation they can find. And that's Patrick O'Neill. Whether it's criminal defense, Social Security, disability, personal injury, workers' compensation, or deeds and wills, when you need legal advice, trust the expertise of Patrick O'Neill. He will get you the money you deserve. His office is located in Jackson, but Patrick practices all over Central and Eastern Kentucky. For more information or for a free consultation, call 606-666-2990.
Who makes the best meal in Richmond? Nuevo Vallarta. Friendly service, a place that's good for kids and good for groups. Head to Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond. Nuevo Vallarta is known for warm hospitality, great prices, great food, and the best fajitas in town. Start with an appetizer, order a la carte, or choose from their huge menu of Mexican favorites for grown-ups and kids. Nuevo Vallarta on Big Hill Avenue in Richmond.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Jennifer. And in the spring of 1992, Bishop Small Engine Repair was born in our mom and dad's barn in Estill County.
Then in the fall of 1992, we made the move to Madison County, where we are today. With the support of our family, customers, and community, we have continued to grow in the outdoor power industry. With a full line of products from collegiate, Grasshopper, Echo, and Shindawa, we can help you tackle your yard so you can enjoy it with your family. Bishop Small Engine Repair, where our focus is our customer. Stop on in, 119 North Estill Avenue in Richmond. We can't wait to see ya.
Back here on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show, Samantha Burford, Dawson Rule, Michael Watkins here with you as we wrap up tonight's show. We'll talk some girls basketball now and some big games coming up. And this is a game I always look forward to, the Berea-Madison Southern game coming up on January 19th. Berea will play Model. Of course, they'll be in the 11th Regional All-A Classic, which they have been, I think, 4 years now in a row? 4 or 5 that they've won the 11th Regional All-A Classic. So
yeah, we should remember that. But, I mean, 4 or 5, I don't know. Let's say 5.
give them another one because they might win it again this year. You never know.
That's right.
Well, and this is a tournament that they've really kind of made their own. Even when they were underdogs, I remember playing Lexington Christian a few years ago on the road. They won that game. They've really kind of made this tournament their tournament.
Yeah.
And as they go into it again here, they'll play Model in the first round, a chance to make another run to the state tournament here in the 11th region.
Here's the thing, though. It's always been at Alumni Coliseum, but because of other things, it's happening in Frankfort this year. So I don't know if that'll make a difference. I think both teams will travel. So you got to get out there and support both of them.
Girls and boys, Model Berea, first-round games, both at Frankfort. I think the 10th and the 11th of this week. So
excited for that. And then the rematch in boys a week later, right?
On the 19th.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks as far as local games go that we'll be at, just trying to get all that squared away. But it's going to be fun.
Berea's won, 6 straight or something like that? Yeah. Model's been competing. I mean, usually Berea Model, it's not the best, but, man, this year it's going to be a good game. Really good game.
Well, I remember a couple of years ago when you had Model they were really good, and then Berea had they had some really good big guys. I can't even think of their names now. We've had so many guys come through, but those games are always a lot of fun when you get the Berea and Model.
You all went back to boys basketball.
We did. I blame Dawson for that. I blame Dawson for that.
I'm like, what happened to our segment on girls basketball?
I want to give them credit for 6 straight. That's good for Berea, and they're having a solid year.
Yeah. Well, Berea girls have won 7 of their last 9 games.
And that Berea Southern girls game is always in the regular season. I mean, last couple of years, that game has been maybe the best game of the year. Last year, if you remember, Berea had a 3-point lead late. Southern drew up an inbounds pass, and instead of shooting the 3, they shot a layup inside.
What are you doing?
And lost by 1 point instead of shooting the 3-pointer. So,
we were there.
That was a game.
We were all like, what just happened?
Yeah, I think it was just heat of the moment. Take the shot, but this year, that game a lot riding on it as well because Berea will once again be looking to try to stake their claim as a contender in the district, and that's how you do it. You beat those teams ahead of you.
I mean, Berea's girls, this is I don't want to say this is their year, but they have so much experience this season. Next year, it's going to drop off a little bit. It might be, I don't know if I want to call it a rebuild, but not as good as this year. So this year, they could really do something special, this girls team. They have a ton of talented girls down there.
Well, and they've been competitive for so long now under Coach Tepp. He's really changed the program. I mean, there was a couple of years ago, they were right up there with Franklin County as RPI and I think went on the road to Franklin County and gave them a game. That's what this program is now. And while they never had the depth of a Central or a Southern, but they are a team that are always fun to watch, and this year the same thing. And they have a player in Chesney Lovins who can go out there and win you a ball game.
They've got tons of talent. Who is Abigail Beard? She's had an awesome year.
I said Chesney Lovins. Beard is who I was thinking. Lovins was on the team a couple of years ago. Beard is who I was thinking
right now.
Yeah, Beard is who I'm thinking of.
Beard and Brewer.
Abigail Beard can go out there and win you a game. That's the one I was thinking of because she can go out there and score 15, 20 points and then shut down your team's best player. That's what Abigail Beard can do.
She's awesome. Yeah. And I just want to keep watching. What she's got, like averaging 15 something. I don't know.
Yeah, she just had 21 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Yeah,
she's been the leading scorer in almost every game.
What I couldn't get over. I was like,
well, and all three, Central, Southern, and Berea are back to back in the RPI right now, all around 53 or 52 in the RPI as far as that stuff goes. But talking about Central, couple straight losses on the road during the offs or during the season tournaments that they're in right now, kind of before school getting going again. They'll be at home versus Anderson County tomorrow, and then a big one next week against Lexington Catholic.
That Anderson County game, you didn't think much about it, but they're 13-1, so that's going to be another tough game. Southwestern, they lost by 3. They're a good team. So Central's girls schedule this year has been kind of a gauntlet. It doesn't seem like it because some of these teams you don't think, oh man, they're awesome, but they are this year, so they're just going to have to keep grinding it out. But they're a good team, and I think they'll win some of these games.
Well, and here's the thing: I was looking up this Anderson County schedule. They're 13-1.
Yeah. Only loss was to GRC.
Yeah, so they've got a junior and a senior that's scoring. The junior Johnson is scoring 32 points, and Satterley. She's a senior, 27 points.
Wow.
That's a big game for
Because I was
Central.
going back through and checking them out.
Yeah.
It is going to be a big game tomorrow.
Central trying to kind of get the ship righted, if you will, and they'll have that game at home tomorrow night. Madison Southern, Lady Eagles, they've got some big games coming up as well, Dawson. And another team that still trying to find themselves. They got the win over Central right before the Christmas holiday, but they've got some big ones coming up. They got Harrison County on the road, Somerset, that home game on the 19th versus Berea. And they're actually playing at my alma mater against Owsley County in the the Kentucky Prep Showcase on January 27th at 6:15. So that'll be a big one for them as well.
Did y'all see how they lost to Bryan Station? They lost 3
on
points.
buzzer beater.
Man.
Yeah, had a 2-point lead, hit a 3, right?
Man,
yeah,
that was a tough game, and they should have won that. And they've been competing good against 11th region teams this year, so I wouldn't look at that game as anything but just Bryan Station hit a lucky shot right there. And then they come out the next day and they blow out, who was it, Bourbon County or something like that?
Yeah.
So
Bourbon County.
they're a good team, and they're playing a lot of young girls. I think Sandlin is
Bourbon
she's
County's
a
not the
sophomore
best
this
team.
year.
sophomore, and so
Adley,
is French as a
and
sophomore.
they're playing some 8th graders.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be loaded for years.
Yeah.
Southern's girls is. I mean, they're really good.
And at some point over the next couple of weeks, Bailey Hensley will make her return to the lineup.
Yeah, when's
so
That's soon, isn't it? In
that
January,
will be. Well,
we
they
were
said
told.
I haven't talked to Coach Curtis in a couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
that will be big when you bring a player like that. Your team's already been competing against these 11th region teams. You bring in a girl who can put up 18, 20, somewhere 22 points a game. That's a big addition for Madison Southern. The only thing that worries me, and Bailey's a great player, is when you've been going through a month and a half of the season without her so far, then how do you bring her in?
In the
That'll be the
rotation.
thing that I think. But
And
Coach
fit her
Curtis
in.
knows. I mean, that's a girl they played the whole summer with. They'll be familiar with
Yeah.
her. It's just how long will it take her to kind of get acclimated back into the lineup?
And I think she'll be solid. They could introduce a post because they don't really have a lot of posts right now. But once she goes get, 5-10 points a game, they got a ton of shooters. They may not play as many of the young girls, but they don't necessarily need to if you got Bailey this year. Southern, watch out for them. Very good this year.
I say give them a game or two to get her acclimated and back in the rotation and figure out where everybody's going and how they're going to make this work. And then 2 games.
Right.
I mean, I think it's going to be back to normal. But I do want to say against that Bourbon County game, I want to give a stat. Really not a stat. They hit 13 3-pointers in that
Wow.
game against
They're
Bourbon
shooters.
The
County.
ultimate equalizer. We talked about it. That 3-point ball, I could never do it. But, when
Yeah.
you can, it can be something that can really, really help you knock off a team that maybe is better than you. That could be the ultimate equalizer. We've seen that throughout the years already. We've got some big games coming up as well. Going to try to get some of them. We'll let you know where we're going to be as we go throughout the next few weeks. A lot to get to, obviously, with the tournaments that took place over the holidays. Not as many games to get in, but we're going to try picking them up. We've got some big ones coming up over the next few weeks, Dawson, and a really good chance to showcase some of these good players. Got some big games coming up for Southern at home on the boys' side, girls' games as well that we'll have. So going to be a fun couple of weeks here as we go throughout the rest of January and postseason time. I mean, it's right around the corner. We're a month and a half away from the district tournament.
Here goes the basketball grind. I mean, from here until, like you said, late February, it's go time.
Yeah.
Every game's important, and I'm excited to get out to a lot of them.
I cannot believe that. Listen, Dawson and I were talking off camera earlier that I can't believe that tonight is the last game for college football.
Well, that leads us into it, too.
You go every week and you think, okay, next Saturday. Oh, next Saturday. Who's playing who? Okay, tonight is the night.
Who you got? What do you think?
Well, I know who you already said, so I got to be against you.
Are we going to put a lunch on it? Gillum's lunch?
I always lose.
I'm okay with it,
I'm
though.
going with Washington if
All
you're
right.
going with Michigan.
Okay.
And can I just say, I like Jim Harbaugh, but I also don't, because I think if I'm in his shoes, would I have?
Do, but you don't
Would
like
I have?
him.
Well, right.
Got a score, Dawson? What do you think?
I don't have a score, but Michigan's going to win. I think they'll cover. It's like 5.5 or something. I'm pretty certain this is Harbaugh's last game. He's probably going to the NFL, so he's going to go out on top. Michigan's going to be back.
Michigan wins 31-24. Cover the 5. Cover the 5. I think Michigan wins tonight, and it's a big game. I mean, it's all eyes on this game.
It's going to be a great
When's the last time Michigan was in the national championship?
Oh, I can tell
they've
you.
been good.
Last time they won was
Michigan
97.
last one was 97.
Yeah.
Washington last one 91. I looked it up
Wow.
today.
Well, because I feel like Michigan, they're one of the best teams all time, but since I've been watching football, it's been middle of the pack. So.
Tom Brady was the last time they won, if I'm not mistaken. No, Brady wouldn't have been there in 97.
Maybe I should wear his jersey tonight.
You got a Brady jersey?
I do, but it's for Tampa Bay.
He was the GOAT there, too. So, I mean, I mean, he's the GOAT in New England, and he was the GOAT
I might just
in Tampa
wear it
Bay.
tonight.
Even though I did not like the Patriots.
Well, that's
when
I'm
Brady
going to
was
say
there.
31 to 27.
31-27
But I'm excited to watch. Yes.
Okay.
I'm excited to watch it. Big defense, lots of passing on the other team.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. There's our predictions for the games tonight. Hope you're having a good first week or so of 2024. We'll see you next Monday on the Jack Burford Chevrolet Sports Show.